basement. Have a look at my hands of how nasty they are. I'm going to show you a tip today that I stumbled across to get these hands truly clean. First, let me tell you about how my hands got to this condition. Today, I did some scrubbing of rust and grime off of this old steam engine using Simple Green, which is a really nice cleaner, but it makes your hands pretty nasty. Maybe we'll cover more about the steam engine later. I also cleaned and oiled the ways on the lathe and cleaned up the chips and all the debris off of the mill. Now, I kind of hate doing that job because you use that sulfur cutting oil, and that sulfur oil is pretty nasty. It gets down all in the cracks of your skin. While I was down there, I had to change the belt on the lathe, and the rubber that gets flaked off of the belt and burned off of the belt, kind of gets in every crevice. I also greased the bearings on the lathe since I had the cabinet all open. And anytime you use the grease gun, your hands are going to get pretty nasty. Finally, just for good measure, I intentionally rubbed my hands on the brake dust of the front wheel of my pickup truck. And if that wasn't enough, I poured some used motor oil straight from the container onto my hands, just to make sure while I was at it that my hands are about as nasty as I can possibly get them. So for purposes of experimentation, I have covered this hand with a waterproof glove so that I can wash each hand with my tip cleaner and the other hand with a commercial product. So for a commercial product, we're using Fast Orange hand cleaner. I like Fast Orange hand cleaner. It has a bit of pumice in it, and it has some citric acid. And the acid seems to do a pretty good job of liquidating greases and oils and kind of lifting them off your skin. Through the years, I've used Gojo, I've used Goop, I've used Fast Orange, I've used some other product that was in an orange bottle, I forget what it was called. And I don't really hate any hand cleaner, but I do hate spending the money on it. I have to wash my hands oftentimes 2 or 3 times a day. So let's see how our first hand is doing using the Fast Orange. I'm pretty pleased with that. That's not terrible. It didn't get under my fingernails very well. The places under my fingernails and around the bed of my nails often gets an embedded grime that is just very difficult to remove. So a while back, by the way, I've put a glove on this now clean hand, which was washed with the Fast Orange, and this hand is still covered with the used motor oil. So a while back, my niece came over and we made some slime. And one of the things we had to buy for the slime was some borax. And after she had gone home, the borax was sitting here on the counter and my hands were dirty. And I thought, I wonder if that borax might be a good scrubbing agent. So I put a little borax in my hand, a little bit of Dawn dish soap. I like what Dawn does with grease. And I realized as I was scrubbing that I could feel this mixture actually warming up in my hand. Some kind of a minor reaction going on between the borax and the Dawn. And I found that it actually does provide a real nice kind of a scrubbing action. The Dawn seems to go to work on the actual raw oils and greases, and the borax does a nice scrubbing down into the gritty corners of everything. That was this summer. And since then, I haven't reached for my jar of Fast Orange hand cleaner again. I keep the borax handy, and when it's come time to wash my hands, I do a little pile of borax in my hands, and I squirt a little bit of Dawn in my fingers, and scrub away. In fact, what I have found, when I need to be dressed up and be especially presentable, going to church or some kind of an event or something, if I really need to get clean under my fingernails and in the bed of my nails, then there's really only one way that I can be sure that my hands are going to get really good and clean. And that is with the borax and the Dawn. Now, if I were about to go to church, I would probably repeat the process. But to be fair, I'll stop here so that we can compare A to B. So let's see what we've got here. Now, neither of my hands is filthy dirty. I'm not unhappy with either result. But honestly, I think the borax side, if you look at the nails and the nail beds, the borax side is actually a little bit cleaner. There's a little bit less of the grime under the fingernails and around the edges than on the fast orange side. And that's why I say if I really need to get my hands clean, I will use the borax and the Dawn every time. So there you have it. Borax and Dawn combined together makes an excellent hand cleaner. Now I think it's only fair to give a little bit of a disclaimer. There is some controversy surrounding borax. Some people say online that it can cause skin irritations, even more serious skin conditions. I can't really comment on that. I've been using it for, 6 months without incident. So if you're like me, if you use your hands a lot, if you get down into a lot of grime and your hands get very dirty and gritty, and if you are not terribly sensitive to solvents, detergents, that kind of thing, then give the borax and the Dawn dish soap a try. Maybe it'll work for you like it's worked for me. And hey, thanks for watching.